Aus einer falsch verstandenen Songzeile. Nancy Sinatra singt nämlich Hotter Than a Pepper Sprout. Der Paddy McAloon hat verstanden Hotter Than a Prefab Sprout. Und schon hat es eine neue Band gegeben, damals in den 80er Jahren. Prefab Sprout, diese Woche ist ihr neues Album rausgekommen. Willkommen im Sounds auf SRF 3. Redaktion Urs Mausfeld, am Mikrofon Mrs Eyre. Und da sind Prefab Sprouts. Mit Billy. Die Platte geht jetzt raus.
The timing was panic because I'd signed a contract a few years ago with Icebreaker, who put out the last, who funded Let's Change the World with Music. So I owed them a record, and I forgot about the deadline. And I was working on another album for them, and I knew it would take me too long to finish it. So I changed. October the 12th of last year, I stopped doing what I was doing, and I grabbed 10 songs that I thought would be reasonably straightforward for me to record. That I knew that they were strong. I mean, it worked out better than I thought.
12 Jahre nach dem letzten, aber hilft dabei.
Sometimes I over-arranged them and they were too long. So when Callum was mixing it, Callum Malcolm was mixing it for me, we had to clip things down to size a bit because I was worried that I didn't know how long this. I didn't know if I had an album's worth of material, 10 songs. So Jewel Thief went on a bit, and the Old Magician went on for about 6 minutes, even though it's just 2.5 minutes long on the record. And so it was panic that made me do it. In the end, I owed someone a record, and I had to do it quickly. I would never do that again. I'd kind of try and keep on top of things.
Der Paddy McAloon schafft für seine Platte mit dem würde das nie mehr so machen.
I try to make it sound good, but what can you do when you only hear properly out of one ear? I just plug things in the back of the desk, the mixing desk. And thought it looks okay on the meters, it sounds okayish. And when I handed it over to Callum, I let him worry about whether things were in phase and whether things were overcooked or undercooked. And he kind of, that's his side of things. But you're right, it's a good point. There wasn't too much time to deliberate.
Der Paddy McAloon versucht immer alles tönt sehr lebendig.
A lot of the songs were written to work with one man and his guitar. Almost all of them, even Jewel Thief, was written as a kind of Dylan-esque story, and I like that version of it. Where if it's just you playing it, but the whole LP with me and just the acoustic guitar, I didn't feel as if I could record that properly. I didn't feel as if I could. I don't have the editing facilities in my studio to piece together a very raw recording. So I started to overdub instruments, and before I knew it, I was making a proper sounding record, like a big sounding record.
Die meisten Songs waren quasi.
I was trying to write something, and you probably won't even believe this, or you won't get the connection. I was trying to write something like an old T-Rex record, like Ride a White Swan, which I that's one of my key records from being a kid, and I loved it so much. I may have even said that to you before. I often sit down and try and rewrite Ride a White Swan. Clearly I'm not going to write about a white swan, but I'll sit there chugging on the guitar thinking that's got to be easy. It's a little throwaway song that Mark Bolan did.
Beim Song The Old Magician, Sprout Album, der erste Song auf dem Album, The Best Jewel Thief in the World.
The reason I came to write the best Jewel Thief in the world was I had read something about Dylan working with Jacques Levy, who co-wrote a song called Black Diamond Bay on Desire and a few other songs. And Dylan had a co-writer as a lyricist, which is an interesting subject in itself, that Dylan has a co-writer for the words. Yeah. I've always liked that song Black Diamond Bay, which seems rich in narrative. I don't know if you know it, but it's a song about something happening on an island while someone watches from the news, watches old Cronkite on the news, and lots of incidents in it, lots of characters, too many probably, just it's kind of like massive, as there would be 16 verses or something. But I liked the idea of the narrative, and although I didn't really hold to it too much with Jewel Thief, I thought story songs are interesting. They're a kind of a very old thing. It's like folk music, the song that tells a story.
Der Paddy McAloon hat versucht mit The Best Jewel Thief in the World, Mrs Eyre aus dem 1976. Und dann ist da natürlich auch der Einfluss von dem Hitchcock-Film mit dem Cary Grant und der Grace Kelly.
I think my basic problem, Hans, is that I don't really love recording that much. It's a necessary step. And I've always been reluctant to say that to people because, if a guy doesn't like to play live, and then you say you don't like the process of making records, did you pick the wrong job? And that's so. I've asked myself that. Did you just pick the wrong job? But I think it's just the thrill of the writing.
Sein Hauptproblem sei, sagt Paddy McAloon, richtig Spass.
But there was a kind of theme, and it was a musical theme, which was that idea of all of the songs be relatively straightforward in terms of their construction. The verse, verse, verse. Mysterious is 4 verses describing poetry, or Bob Dylan describing the act of writing songs, the job of the songwriter or the poet. The person I had in mind was my sort of it wasn't a fictional character, but my imaginary character was Bob Dylan.
Es gäbe ein Thema auf dem.
That the kind of person who will find your new album when it's not been released or when it's not been announced even are fanatics. People who really want to know about you and therefore buy it in different formats, and it's a fan-based thing, really. If someone's tracking you down on the internet, they're really just interested in you. So yes, and it's a bit like getting a radio play. I can see that. It's a bit like, the way radio used to work in the old days, where you'd tape something from it because you just liked a John Peel session or what have you.
Natürlich sei es ärgerlich, wenn die Leute...
I've never really given up on the fact that we might do another band record one day, because you should never really close it all down. But, with Wendy or with Mart, certainly. I haven't spoken to Neil in ages, simply because time flies by. And it goes terrible. Yeah, I see Wendy occasionally. She's got a job. I speak to my brother a lot, and he is okay about this. But it's not really the way we meant things to be. It leaves me uneasy just using the name for myself. There are reasons for it, as you can probably imagine. You just don't know what I'm trying to work under difficult circumstances, really.
Der Paddy McAloon hat die Idee nie aufgegeben, eines Tages wieder mit der Band.
Eine Sendung von SRF 3. Mehr Informationen und Podcasts auf srf3.ch.